Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Russell Wilson endorses Steelers creating package for Justin Fields. If Justin Fields steals a handful of snaps throughout the season, Russell Wilson isn't going to mind. Speaking to reporters following Wednesday's practice, Wilson endorsed the idea of the Pittsburgh Steelers creating a specialty package for Fields, utilizing his strengths as one of the game's most dynamic runners. Per 93.7 The Fan, Wilson signed off on the idea, believing it would strike fear in defenses. The Steelers haven't committed to using Fields in such fashion. In fact, they haven't even officially cemented Wilson's spot as the team's Week 1 quarterback. But he's the clear front-runner, and using Fields in specialty situations would guarantee Wilson's place atop the depth chart. For Wilson, that's a worthy trade-off. Pittsburgh enters 2024 with plenty of unknown at quarterback and is in a unique situation. A former Super Bowl winner in Wilson, a former first-round pick in Fields, both on cheap, expiring contracts. While Wilson is likely to get the initial nod due to his experience, leadership, and taking better care of the football, Fields is arguably too talented to hold the clipboard like a traditional backup quarterback. Some analysts have envisioned a Taysom Hill role for him, though that probably stretches the boundaries of what the Steelers are willing to explore. As we pointed out Wednesday morning, new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith could utilize the designed QB run game to get Fields on the field. One of the best running quarterbacks in football, top two alongside Lamar Jackson, Fields rushed for 1,143 yards in 2022 while leading the league with 7.1 yards per carry. His rushing yards are second most in NFL history, only trailing Jackson's 1,206 set in 2019. They are the only two quarterbacks in NFL history to run for over 1,100 yards in a single season and one of just three to cross the 1,000-yard mark. Mike Vick in 2006 is the other. How often these plays could be used if they're used would be game plan dependent. Some weeks, Fields could see 5 such snaps. Others, he might receive 0. It would depend on the matchup, opponent, and how well the plays are working in-game. But it's a wrinkle the team should at least explore, especially knowing Russell Wilson would take no issue with it. After the Denver Broncos acquired the star quarterback ahead of the 2022 season, things went downhill quickly. Denver's offense never got into gear, Wilson struggled, and first-year head coach Nathaniel Hackett was fired before the season was complete, joining the likes of Urban Meyer and Bobby Petrino as first-time NFL head coaches to not even complete one full season as a head coach. 2023 was better on the field for Wilson, but not behind the scenes. Denver benched Wilson late in the year to ensure that the $37 million they owed him didn't become guaranteed if he didn't pass a physical elsewhere after being released. Wilson himself said that the Broncos told him to either agree to adjust his salary or he would be benched. He didn't comply with their demands, so they played Jarrett Stidham instead. However, even while clashing with Sean Payton and Broncos higher-ups, Wilson threw 26 touchdown passes, 8th in the NFL, to just 8 interceptions. He was also number 8 in the NFL in passer rating and had 4 game-winning drives. Not only that, the Super Bowl champion did that in an offense that didn't necessarily match his style of play. Now, he is going into an offense that fits what he very does well, deep ball passing. Wilson was 4th in the NFL last season in competitions of 25 or more air yards, per Sports Info Solutions. He was also 3rd in yards and 4th in touchdowns on such passes. The Steelers will be running a lot of play-action passing under Arthur Smith, which also bodes well for Wilson and the long ball. The Falcons' offense actually did well on play-action deep balls last season. Desmond Ridder was 3rd in the NFL in completions of 20-plus air yards off play-action. Wilson was 7th in passing yards on passes of the same kind, and was 7th in passer rating amongst all quarterbacks with at least 10 pass attempts in a deep ball off play-action scenario. Wilson also led all quarterbacks in average depth of throw at 36.4 yards. What this means is that he was still incredibly efficient throwing deep despite launching balls further than anyone in the league on a consistent basis. Another factor that will really benefit Wilson is throwing while his feet are planted rather than trying to run around and try too much. When he threw on planted feet in 2023, he had the fourth highest catchable pass percentage in the NFL of all quarterbacks with at least 100 attempts. His passer rating while throwing on planted feet was also fourth in the league. The Steelers' offensive line is going to keep Wilson clean and give him the time to let it fly. In an offense that will play to his strengths, Wilson won't only stay afloat, he can thrive and make things happen. Now, this isn't me saying that Russ is going to turn the clock back to 2020 and throw 40 touchdowns. However, I am saying that in this offense, he can be exactly what the Steelers need him to be: a competent quarterback. Last year, the Steelers were driven off course by awful quarterback play and had to rely on fast and furious type of luck to even get into the playoffs. Wilson is more than capable of keeping them on the road and maybe, just maybe, helping them end the long playoff win drought. Steelers rookie center Zach Frazier, progressing nicely in OTAs. The Pittsburgh Steelers needed to make an upgrade at center after 2 years of Mason Cole being largely disappointing. Pittsburgh released Cole in February and didn't address the position with an outside signing ahead of the draft. Knowing they needed a center, the Steelers selected Zach Frazier out of West Virginia in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Frazier has looked good throughout the offseason program and spoke about what he is focusing on most during OTAs. "First and foremost, getting the snap back there good," Frazier said. "I'm focusing on cadence, just really everything. Snap, cadence, assignment, technique." Veteran guard Isaac Seumalo complimented Frazier after Wednesday's practice. "He's still a rookie that's coming along," Seumalo said. "Obviously, he's coming along quickly because of how talented he is." Luckily for Frazier, the bar for center play in Pittsburgh has been as low as it can get over the last 3 seasons. While it appears Pittsburgh is going to make him earn it, it would be shocking to see anyone but number 54 in the middle of the offensive line come week 1. Former QB says NFL is helping Steelers rival. The Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL this season. It's clear they will have to earn their way to wherever they land in the AFC North. The same thing can't be said of the Steelers' rival, the Baltimore Ravens, however. According to former NFL player and analyst Robert Griffin III, the league may be trying to help Baltimore get over the hump. RG3 took to social media to elaborate on his theory. Citing reasons like the amount of rest between games and not being on the road for more than 2 weeks in a row, Griffin seems convinced that the NFL expects a huge step forward from Baltimore. "At this point in Lamar Jackson's career, every season is Super Bowl or bust," Griffin said. "That's how special the 2-time MVP has been. And the only thing the NFL wants more than a dynasty like the Chiefs is a team or a player that gets over the hump. And that's exactly what the NFL schedule makers are trying to help the Ravens do. They gave them an additional 16 days of rest over their opponents, and not only that, they make sure the Ravens are not on the road, or should I say, away from home, more than 2 weeks in a row. They want to make sure they are well rested. You got a new duo of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. These dudes are dynamic playmakers. Why wouldn't the NFL want them to be well rested? So, why would the Ravens be getting these extra favors from the league?" For Griffin, it makes perfect sense that the NFL wants to see Lamar Jackson succeed. That's how special the 2-time MVP, Jackson, has been. With Baltimore being unable to get past the AFC Championship game, perhaps with a bit more rest and some home field advantage, it can propel the Ravens to more postseason success. Add on that the Ravens brought in former rushing champion Derrick Henry, and RGII says the Ravens are a team the NFL wants to take care of. Why wouldn't the NFL want them to be well rested? He posed during his social media video. If Griffin is to be believed, the Ravens should be poised for a big year and could challenge Kansas City for the top team in the AFC. For the Steelers, they aren't as lucky in terms of scheduling. Going off of team opponent winning percentage in 2023, they have the third strongest strength of schedule in the entire league. They also are not as fortunate in terms of rest allotted, as the Steelers will play 2 games in 5 days toward the end of the regular season. The Steelers and Ravens don't meet for the first time until Week 11 and then battle it out again in Week 16. One thing is for sure, no matter where these teams are at in the standings, their matchups are sure to be can't-miss football. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Robert Griffin? Leave your opinion in the comments.